Okay, I'm making a start on this jet boat build. So it's 51-inch hull, 70mm jet off of eBay. Stripped the hull pretty much. Spent like 20 minutes pulling all the hardware off and stripping it, and then getting the motor mounts out. And then I've been about an hour sanding just this, and I'm not even finished it yet. So I'd much rather be cutting than sanding, so I'm over that for now. So got a little bit of a problem, whereas the jet's too high for this, so I don't know if I can sink it down when I cut this, when I cut the floor. If I can't, I'll probably just make a plate and make it sit up a little bit higher, and then cut the back of this away, because it's, you know, I'm pretty lucky because that's where it's actually gone anyway. So it's got a fairly deep V. Not quite sure where I'm going to go with this, to be honest. So on your normal, like, factory jet boats, they have this they have the V, and then it tapers down to the jet. Same on this Pro Boat one, just tapers down a little bit onto that. Alright, so I'm going to cut it now. So I'm just going to cut along here, across here. I have to cut through that beautiful sticker, which I don't like doing, but things have to get sacrificed. I've measured it all. We're in the middle as far as you can see with my old eyes, so all I need to do is cut it. Now it's time to start cutting the big hole in the boat and cutting this all out. This is the main reason that if you're going to do a jet boat, you have to commit, because it's not like drilling a 10mm hole in the back of the boat to put a propeller shaft in there. You've actually got to cut a lot away. So there's a couple of different ways to do it, and well, on this one here, on this style, this is a TFL jet. It was just, I actually sandwiched the hull in between the pump and the outside, and just drilled the holes and squashed it together. This one here, the hull is actually, or the transom is actually tapered, which I didn't realize until after I started doing the job. And I really needed to be able to make up a wedge to make it sit flat, but I don't have a CNC machine, and at the time I didn't have a printer either. Well, I've got one now, but I still don't know how to use it anyway, so that wouldn't have mattered. So all I did on this one, rather than sandwiching the boat in between, or the hull in between the front and the back, I just joined it together and epoxied the thing in at an angle. Well, so it's straight, but it's at an angle compared to the hull, and it worked fine. It's just a plastic boat, so who really cares? But on this one, I've got same sort of problem I had with this one, whereas the jet is higher than the back of the boat, so I had to make up just a plate there and use that as the part that gets sandwiched. So on this one, what I'll do is cut this out to the shape of the V, and have just a high bit on the top here where that is, and I'll mount it on the inside rather than cheating like I did on that one, and make it neat. So unfortunately the only bit I could buy was 6mm thick, so it's going to be a hell of a lot of cutting and grinding. Okay, so I've got the big hole in the bottom cut, not the back yet. I can see now what I've got sitting there. I'm definitely going to have to make a make it taper into the front of the inlet there, and I'm going to have to do the same on the back. I'm going to have to make that flat on the back, or else we're just going to be scooping water there. So it's a shame that this part here can't go all the way back there. That would fix that problem nicely, but then then half the jet would be hanging out the back, and it's not going to work. So I've got more work to do. That's where I'm at now. So I've had to cut the whole thing away here to get rid of the the V down here. So we don't have much of a boat left. So I've made up a plate for the jet pump to sit in. So it's going to sit on the inside of the boat here. And I'm going to put my trim tabs back on and the mounts for the turn fins, and just purely so I can use the bolts to bolt this in, rather than just having random bolts in the back of the boat. And yeah, I'll put some silicone all on the front of here as well and squash it all in. Now I've got the jet mounted in there. My plate's bolted in using the trim tabs and the bolts for the fins. There's a couple extra holes here that were for the stingers, so I'll utilise them as well. I'll chuck some bolts in that. So what I need to do now is make the pad to get rid of this V in front of the intake. Just going to copy exactly what they did on this Pro boat here. So I'll just cut that out and I'll make a triangle out of something, and then I just got to fill in the back here. Just cut out a couple of pieces of perspex to fill these in, and just heating up my hot melt glue gun to just sit them in there, and then I'll turn it over and fiberglass over the top. The fiberglass is set on the pump now. So here's the bottom. Yeah, so that's my little plate that I made up to guide the water into there. Took the V out of the boat here, just made up another plate there, and that's in. So now it's just a matter of putting a servo on here, or a servo mount on here, so we can steer it. Not sure which type I'm going to go with, either one of these stand-up ones or the lie-down ones. It depends on the height, the height of the rod when it gets in here where it is. And I'll be using one of these 20 kilo servos. And then it's just a matter of bolting the motor up, putting the ESC on, and some battery plates, and I'm just working on this right now. Just got some epoxy gluing or drying on here, so I can fix that up. So I've got about another hour's work and it'll be ready to fire up. I'm going to run the servo now. I would normally just run one of these. So you just put that through the hole there, and then here we go, that part, this part of the rod just goes through that hole, and this part here goes on your servo with a bolt that goes through it. But unfortunately I can't do that because this is just too short to get through here, so I'm gonna have to spin it around and use this side through here, and I'm going to run a bolt down here. I'm actually going to put it on the bottom. It could either go on top of that bolt there, or it could go on the bottom, but it's going to look neater on the bottom. So I'm going to connect that side like that, and on the servo side I'm going to use the part we normally put on the rudder on top of here, and then I'm going to, because I'm going low on here, I'm going to have to lie it down. So I'm going to use one of these type servo mounts. I've just got some glue just dried on the fiberglass there. I'm just going to lie that down. That goes on there, the rod goes in there, and it's held on with that. Now I would normally start from the rudder side first, run the rod through, and then mount my servo, but because I've got adjustment on this, I'm going to be able to run, you know, a couple of lock nuts on there and have that running as high or as low as I want to. I'm actually going to put the servo in first and work backwards. Okay, so the steering's sorted out now. Just mounted the steering arm onto the long bolt I've put there, and it's just got a couple of lock nuts in there, so it was the right height for this. Just comes through here, and I've got it right in the middle, you know, of the hole there, which is what you need. So it should all work. Just going to power it up for the first time. I'm using the same radio gear, speed control as it was using before, or one of the speed controls. So there's no reason why it shouldn't just work now. We hope. Now I'm just going to power up this battery. Alright, check the steering first. Okay, everything's cool there. Now the motor should work. Oh yeah. I think I've got to go on the wrong way. Throttle reverse. Oh, that's better. And that's it. Just got a few more things to button up. Put some. Didn't get a chance to put the plates for the batteries in because I don't know where I want them yet. I got to finish tidying up this. But apart from that, yeah, put the aerial in for the radio and run water lines. And then chuck it in the water and see what happens.